Can I have a cigarette?
Percy, don't you dare. That is not funny.
Come on, Eddie. It's a little funny. Why is the flame green?
I have absolutely no idea.
Huh. Interesting.
Percy, how are you? How's Ash? We haven't talked very much lately.
I mean, to tell you the truth, it's been a little tense for the past few months, but...
What? That's really unlike you. Are you all right?
I mean, yeah, funnily enough, I've been good. Actually been really good. I mean, apart from the Ash thing.
Right. Well, I hope you to resolve whatever needs resolving.
Yeah, maybe. How's the archiving going?
Honestly, I would love to talk about literally anything else.
No, you wouldn't.
Okay. No, I wouldn't, but it's complicated.
How so?
So, I tried talking to Astrid yesterday, and she hasn't listened to the podcast. So.
She doesn't like horror.
Exactly, but whenever I try to talk someone out of the know, I get all foggy. It's hard to hear what they're saying. I get dissociated and I lose track of things. I can't connect. I think I worried her.
Must be a bit lonely then.
A bit, yeah. Luckily, I've got friends who have been in the archive. Not that you can tell me anything at all. I'm willing to bet that will end terribly.
Yeah, wouldn't want to break our archivist, would we?
You have not watched my video logs.
I mean, not really. To tell you the truth, I'm kind of surprised you're able to broadcast at all.
So how did you know to call me the... My camera's on.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering why you'd brought it outside.
I don't remember... I don't think... It only turns on when... So, you mentioned not feeling like yourself lately. How long has that been going on for?
I mean, I never said that I wasn't feeling like myself, just that things have been different since December.
Since December, right? That's about as long as I've been in the archive, correct?
Yes, it is.
It's not just affecting me, is it?
Do that again and I will be compelled to punch you, yes.
You're not Percy!
Oh, okay. Okay, so you thought I was of the stranger, didn't you? That something was wearing my skin?
Yeah, yes! Because of the Unknowing and Orsanov and all the comments in the avatars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what about me would connect to that?
Nothing.
I mean, like I said, I've never felt more like myself.
So who?
Look at your hand.
No, not the Lightning's Flame!
Bingo!
Don't kill me!
Oh, don't be stupid. I'd never kill an old friend. And besides, if you're gone, who's left to finish consuming the story?
What? So why are you here?
I wanted to see who you'd serve. See if, I don't know, we could still be friends.
So you didn't know that I would be...
Oh my god, just call yourself the Archivist already, Christ. You're still resisting it? I mean, okay, to tell you the truth, I do think you had a fair shot at picking a couple of the fears, but should have guessed your thirst for knowledge would be strongest. I mean, not that it matters now. You've made your choice, and all the fears have left their mark on you. Doubt the others are very far behind. Can you feel them in your head?
Don't.
I do wonder if anybody else is gonna bless you with anything. The watercolors all mix a bit gray with you, to be honest. Part of me was kind of hoping you would join the Desolation, but I should have known you wouldn't have the stomach for it.
Yeah, because I would never get joy from destroying things that people love.
I could have guessed.
But you wouldn't either.
Really?
Percy, I know you. So what happened?
You know, everyone thinks the Desolation's all about fire, but that's not how it was for me. Damn it! You know, you can make me talk, but I can stop you from listening.
Don't you dare!
It was the storms I fell for first.
And then that thing with Newton and Haley screwing them over? Okay, I can feel you not paying attention to me.
A supernatural feel or deduction feel?
Stop letting Percy get to you. You're doing the candle thing again, aren't you?
He said the other horrors might be affecting my powers. I'm just making sure.
You don't even like the Desolation.
Yeah, well, I don't like our patron, and yet here we are.
You like what it can make you do.
I've never said that.
It's not like you're subtle. You like knowing things. It's fine. These abilities protect us. It's not the end of the world to enjoy a superpower or two.
Actually, I think it is the end. You said us. Henrik, have you noticed anything about you changing?
I mean,
Henrik!
it's probably nothing.
Tell me!
Even that. I can feel when we're archiving. It's this gut instinct, like a light bulb in my head, switching on whenever the archive is active. It's most noticeable when you're filming specifically, but it still flickers when either of us are listening, or you're doing a spreadsheet, or when we're having a meeting.
So it's happening right now?
Yes.
What does it feel like?
Like buzzing, excitement, or anxiety, kind of, but deeper and more neutral. It's not bad. It's comfortable, really. Almost makes me think about how Elias talked about being compelled.
Oh, right, with the staticky, tingly thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like static, but in your head.
Huh. You know, compelling kind of feels similar. But why didn't you tell me?
Have you seen you lately? I'm not interested in you shutting me out again. What do you think made me realize this was happening? It's not fun when the light bulb's off for too long. It's not good for either of us in the most literal sense nowadays.
Oh, Henrik, I'm sorry.
Stop apologizing. I'm not Tim. I didn't blame you. I did this to myself.
Right. Sorry.
Shut up. And talking about Tim, I think Elias might try to sacrifice him to stop the Unknowing.
Yes, that's occurred to me too. Yeah.
Keeping Tim in the dark, with him having a connection to Orzammel already, blaming it on his temper feels like an easy excuse. Just too similar to Gertrude and Michael.
Michael Shelley. I saw the same pattern. It's concerning, but I just don't think John would do that. Sacrifice Tim, I mean. Obviously Elias would, but I just don't think John could.
Could you?
What?
If you had to kill me to stop the apocalypse, wouldn't you?
I think it's pretty obvious that I couldn't.
But to save the world?
I never said it was righteous or moral. I just don't think I could. At the very least, I couldn't keep you in the dark. If you had to die to stop the apocalypse, I would tell you.
Even if it risked me not agreeing to do it?
I mean, yeah. What makes me so great that I can take your autonomy away from you? But also, I know you. You'd want to help, so I would tell you the truth.
You know, I actually think I would kill you to stop the apocalypse.
Good. You should.
Well, don't sound too excited.
Well, you might have to. At least we'll get a warning if Oliver sees it first.
Who?
Oliver.
There's no statement maker named Oliver.
No, come on, you know, Antonio Blake, the Dreamer, episode 11, his name is Oliver.
You never said his name was all... Oh, God, Edwin, are you?
No. This isn't something that I just knew. It was definitely confirmed somewhere. It had to have been. I mean, Jane Prentice saw him. I made a theory about it.
You connected them purely in the fact that both of them worked at crystal shops, and one of them looked at Jane Prentice with a frown. That is hardly a confirmation. You totally just knew
Don't call me the Archivist.
Archivist, Dread Archivist, Bastard Archivist, Marked Archivist, Picture Poison. It is you.
Piss off. You're weirdly accepting about this whole thing.
I've given up on getting out of it. I just want us to survive, Eddie. If that means becoming weird and magical, I'd rather that than die. It'll cross the line that starts changing who we are, not what we are.
Well, you're still you. I would tell you if you weren't. I'll keep an eye out if you're not.
Keep an eye out.
Seriously.
Personally, I think you just knowing things is going to be extremely helpful for our survival.
Well, I'm glad you're so pleased about it then.
Don't act like it isn't a little bit cool.
Maybe it'll have its perks. Maybe. That's all I'm saying.
I'll accept that. Now can I please get back to talking about the astrophysicists?
Yeah, go on then.
I think your camera's on.
Oh, shit. How did you know that?
Good old light bulb senses.
No, you've got to think of a better name. I think Elias is Jonah Magnus. Welcome to First Time Listener. Is my skin softer now? Edwin, any pronouns, episodes 95 to 111, who cares? Look, it started when we found out that Elias became head of the Institute in 1996. He started working there 5 years prior. Seems unlikely that a place of academia and prestige hires someone to be head who's been there for such a short amount of time. Then we hear that the only person who's worked under James Wright, Elias's predecessor, is Gertrude, the Archivist. Yeah, I'm not buying it. By episode 80, The Librarian, I began to suspect that Elias is also James Wright. But why would it stop at James? Sarah Baldwin, episode 96, Return to Sender.
It's Elias now, then.
Elias used to go by another name. And Nikola Orsanov sealed the deal.
You know, I must say, Elias, can I call you Elias? You have not raised this one very well. He is rude.
How can Elias have raised multiple archivists? Elias's only archivist is John, and yet he is well too familiar with how to develop them. One might argue, so familiar he might as well have created the archive himself. There is no mention of any heirs or family members of Jonah Magnus. Not to mention, I didn't like the way that Elias talked about Magnus's feelings towards Barnabas Bennett with such familiarity. And Elias's drastic power level? 199 years will give you plenty of time to practice your magic. Elias doesn't just see, he can plant knowledge and visions into people's heads. He did this to Melanie King to stop her assassination attempts in episode 106, A Matter of Perspective. He made her know what happened to her father in Ivy Meadows care home, see episode 36, Taken Ill. And he threatened to make her see it. And of course, there's episode 102, Nesting Instinct, where Elias makes it abundantly clear that he holds a very specific role.
I am sorry, John, that my powers have not yet reached the level of omniscience, and I am sorry that I have to spend so much time trying to help you develop your own faculties rather than explaining everything to you like a child.
Which, I mean, obviously, he's supposed to cultivate the archivist, but it doesn't hurt to have him literally say it. I'm going to listen out for Gertrude's tapes. I have a sneaking suspicion of hearing Elias's voice and hearing Gertrude call him James. Sorry for the noise, I think there's a storm outside. Favourite episodes of this bunch includes episodes 111, Family Business, and episode 103, Cruelty Free. Yes, I know I shouldn't like the monster pig, but... friend. And one of my favourite scenes of the entire show so far is Elias and John's conversation at the start of episode 102, Nesting Instinct. Happy to hear that the archive crew's scheming against Elias. Good! I wonder if Basira and Daisy have told the others about John's abilities yet. Part of me wants the top of the very next episode to be everyone in a debrief within the tunnels, John explaining everything happening to him. Although that might result in Daisy trying to kill him. Or Tim trying to kill Elias. Tim... There's a reason he's so obsessed with Robert Smirk. Episode 104, Sneak Preview. In August 2013, Tim lost his brother Danny Stoker to the Stranger and the Circus at the Covent Garden Theatre under the Royal Opera House. Danny's skin was ripped off by something that looked like Joseph Grimaldi, one of the most famous clowns in history. A lot of his quotes and jokes are still used in pantos, and his clown persona was named Joey. I mean, you heard what Henrik and I think? I just really don't want him to die. And after my... He's hard to talk about. I liked him. He deserves better. Basira and Melanie fit right in at the Institute. I like their friendship. I like seeing the studious side of Basira, always reading a new book on the paranormal. I mean, it must be a bit fun having endless access to the place that houses all the answers to the unexplained. Their workplace gossip includes that mine's got it bad for John, which I did not clock at all, I just thought he's a sweet guy. And also, Melanie confirmed that John and Georgie did date, of which I previously theorised. And that John is asexual. I just didn't expect them to actually confirm it. You don't hear it very often in stories. It's nice. Which, of course, he is yet another coincidental similarity between me and... Anyway, so... who's Peter? That's rhetorical, obviously. He's Captain Lucas of the Tundra, episode 33, 66, and 101. I just didn't expect him to have such a spooky aura. I just assumed the Lucases would be better at presenting more human. I didn't expect the tape to actually be distorted when talking to Brian and Martin, which... he also took Brian Finlinson. Whatever that means. Look, I know I don't like the Lucases, save for Evan. I don't get the luxury of liking characters that will probably try to kill me. But it's not my fault that Peter was so cheerful and genuinely excited to talk to Martin. Maybe I'm allowed to enjoy the company of one avatar before I get all the information and specifics of all the atrocities they've committed. Because right now he's just a bit charming. Speaking of charming, wish we got more Georgie in this bit. Great sense of humour amidst mortal peril. A great trait to have. She's just very... I've got more pressing matters to discuss. Oh, don't you just hate being right sometimes? I mean, I get it's kind of my thing now, but 14 of them. Really? I mean, I technically settled on 15, but I was entirely correct about Robert's smirk, and he created the list of 14. Episode 111, Family Business. John summons Gerard Key. He was stuck in the ghost skin. Immediately became one of my favourite characters in the whole show. He's snarky, he's kind, he's funny. He helped us. And those two make a pretty damn funny pair.
What's out there doesn't care about blood.
Well, I mean, except for the vampire.
Yeah, obviously, except for the vampires.
I mean, Jerry's great. Jerry. His final words to John.
Thank you, Jared.
Jerry.
What?
Jared was what my mum called me. I always wanted my friends to call me Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry. I dismiss you.
Yeah, I know, that's my twin sister's name. Hey, Jerry. If you're watching. Miss you. So, the 14 horrors. They don't feed on our fear. They are our fear. And they have rituals. The avatars, the monsters, whatever's in between, they are trying to create apocalypses that bring their source horror into our reality. From predator hunting prey to an industrial slaughterhouse. A factory of fear. The easiest track right now is to go through all of them. Jerry made it clear that they aren't in perfect categories. Some horrors clash, some egg each other on. Like colours blending together. Or as John so eloquently put it.
Like colours, but if colours hated me. Got it. Christ, I need a cigarette.
I could not agree more. So we've got the stranger, the spiral, the web, the end, the lightless flame, and the beholding for certain. I've described them all, we get what they are. Then there's the filth, whose name is actually the corruption. I don't know why I kept thinking Jane Prentice was of the end. She was clearly this. Part of me wonders if Jane Prentice's attack with the worm doorway in the tunnels was actually a preparation for the ritual of the corruption. Maybe we've already stopped one and didn't even know. Then there's the burial, which I previously combined with the end. Pretty self-explanatory. Claustrophobia, getting crushed, dust pneumonia, taken by the earth. The example episodes include episode 71, Underground, 88, Dig, and 99, Dust to Dust. Then there's the slaughter, which is violence, bloodshed, brutality. It's heavily fed by war. Really nasty one if you ask me. Then the two animalistic fears. The flesh, fear of being eaten, and the hunt, fear of being hunted and killed. The blue... thing I mentioned last time. It's actually a combination of 3 fears. The lonely, the vast, and the dark. I still think they're scheming together, though. The lonely is, well, being alone. Look to the Lucas family. I don't like that one. I mean, self-explanatory. I'm a twin. I've literally never been alone. I don't cope well with it. I'm not coping well with it. The vast. Big, grand expanses, the sky and deep water associated with Mike Crew and the Fairchild family, which, by the way, isn't actually a familial name. It's just what they call themselves. Current Fairchilds include Simon and his niece, Harriet. But John also remembered Simon Fairchild as an alias for a 1930s con artist in Hackney. Then there's the dark. The People's Church of the Divine Host, which, on the topic, did not expect Trevor Herbert and Julia Montauk to work together of all people. For some reason, I thought the mysterious woman that Trevor was with was going to be Andrea Nunes, but I have no idea where I got that from. Anyway, episode 107, they kidnapped John. Oh, he had a nickel. And episode 110, they explain how they met. Trevor was tracking a potential monster at Julia's workplace. There were beings of deep, dark water, of which one person, Varden Darvish, had the same closed eye sigil that Julia's mother had before her death. The symbol of the People's Church of the Divine Host. Though, the church is the dark, right? But isn't deep water the vast? Maybe the scope is more expansive than I thought. Trevor and Julia have been fighting monsters ever since, and came to America looking for a wolfman, which is real, by the way. Lawrence Mortimer, episode 31, First Hunt. And it's funny because it was the first episode with a creature of the hunt. I actually think Trevor is fueled by hunt.
I hunt monsters. My lungs don't kill me. Seems like a fair trade.
Of which, I agree, does seem like a fair trade. But I still can't work out why the Institute presumed Trevor dead. How many hunters of these are there? Can they kill Elias? Will someone we know become one of them? Because Daisy... Right. People's Church. Basira's been reading while being held hostage, but she said something that probably sounded extraordinarily normal to a normal person, but didn't to me.
I was reading through a bunch of stuff about the Church of the Divine Host. Did you look into that statement about the chapel in Hither Green? Because apparently right around that time there was a full solar eclipse going on in near Alicent. And when Natalie Ennis talked about it being 300 years ago, well, how much do you know about the relationship between Edmund Halley and John Flamsteed?
Halley like the comet?
Exactly.
There's another rabbit hole. And I love the research, especially the science bits. John Flamsteed was the first astronomer of the Royal Society of London, which, well, it's kind of self-explanatory. Big British group dedicated to developing the sciences. He also founded the Royal Greenwich Observatory in 1675. Flamsteed, from what I understand it, was Edmund Halley's mentor of sorts. Yes, Halley like the comet. Flamsteed helped Halley publish his first paper in 1676. 1680, Flamsteed proposed that 2 observed comets might actually be the same one, travelling away from the sun, then towards the sun. In comes Isaac Newton. Newton disagreed with this idea until somehow, in autumn of 1684, he made the case that comets, like planets, also rotate around the sun. Turns out, Newton was given Flamsteed's observations by his former assistant, Edmund Halley. But that's not even all of it. Flamsteed was developing star charts, considered to be the most accurate to date, but Isaac Newton was president of the Royal Society. So he and Halley pressured Flamsteed to publish them. Flamsteed refused, and they ignored him anyway. 1712, Newton and Halley published 400 copies of plagiarized observations. Flamsteed was able to collect 300 and burned them. Then Flamsteed passed away in 1719, his actual star charts released posthumously by his wife Margaret in 1725. These charts were significantly more accurate and contained 2,935 more stars. The second astronomer to join the Royal Society was Edmund Halley in 1720, the year after Flamsteed died. But I wouldn't have dived as deeply into this. Well, yes I would have. Look who you're talking to. If it wasn't for something that Jerry said.
Yeah. Flamsteed, Smirk, Leitner. Idiots who destroyed themselves chasing a secret that wasn't worth knowing. And the worst thing was she marked me as a part of that, without my understanding or consent.
Poor Jerry. Linking Flamsteed with the likes of Smirk and Leitner. So he knew about the fears. Interesting. May 3rd, 1715. Halley's eclipse over Newall. That's the event that Natalie Ennis said was 300 years ago. Shrouding the sun over the Earth's longest nights. Can't get much more darkness than that. And the next one after that, March 20th, 2015. Ennis went missing on March 11th, 9 days prior. And that was 2 months before Gertrude's death. And the closest statement we have to March 20th, 2015, given 5 days before. It was Antonio Blake. Because of course it was. Dreaming about Gertrude. I still think the dream is about the eyes ritual, but it's still not my favourite of coincidences. Then, almost exactly a month after the eclipse, Mark Billam gave his statement on April 19th, 2015, describing Natalie's story. That was the last statement we have before Gertrude was killed. I can only assume that Gertrude managed to stop whatever ritual of the dark that was on March 20th, 2015. But episode 73, Police Lights? Max VwLrYrJ, the leader of the People's Church of the Divine Host, trying to start a new ritual? Not to mention that Martin read a statement about Max VwLrYrJ that occurred in 1864. So is Rayner immortal too? I never thought he was killed in episode 73. It didn't feel right. It felt too easy. But also, I've already connected the Institute to the Dark. Because the Dark, the Lonely, and the Vast are all interconnected through the Lucas family, Simon Fairchild, in outer base shipping. And of course they converge at the Daedalus space station. We got another statement from there. The first from Carter Chilcott, episode 57, Personal Space, and the other from jWnYcBYnZ, episode 106, A Matter of Perspective. Carter's experience was of the Lonely, jWnYcBYnZ's I think that was the Vast. I can only assume our third astronaut, Manuela Dominguez, will address the Dark. As for Jan, he comprehended the expanse of the universe. And then he saw something else.
And then I realized the obvious. I could not see the stars because something was blocking them. It moved and flowed across my vision. Every motion seemed to snuff out more light. There was no shape to see, no outline that could be drawn of this thing so dark and enormous I could feel my stomach trying to vomit, my mind trying to expand, to take in the size of what moves between the stars, filling my entire vision and more. I knew that if it chose to cry out, it would have destroyed me utterly. And I know that there was no possibility it could ever notice I existed.
I've noticed this thing before, haven't I? Episode 51, High Pressure, in the depths of the Maria Fairchild. There was a giant being. Even in episode 80, The Librarian, the Destruction of Lightness Library, had someone taken by a giant hand ripping through the sky. So, is it a massive, vast monster? Because the horrors don't have physical beings. The closest we've got to one is, well, there's the giant spider, but it's too busy making cult classic films, apparently. But Gertrude mentioned jWnYcBYnZ. Episode 99, Dust to Dust, regarding a potential ritual in the United States of America.
For the buried, however, I do have what I believe might be quite an effective plan forming, assuming, of course, that my suspicions about jWnYcBYnZ are correct. And that's something that should be easy enough to determine once he's back on Earth. Considering what's probably happened to him up there already, I feel almost bad. But there's 10 years yet before I can afford a conscience.
This was recorded in September 2007, which 10 years later, well, it's now. It's 2017 for John. Is that alluding to the right to the Watcher Crown? Did she know it would happen in 2017? Want to know what was also September 2007? The Daedalus space station launch. Then, June 17th, 2008. We all ignore the pit. Jackson Ellis made a statement regarding a pit that consumed people in Bakota, Washington, in the United States.
An elderly woman, face pinched and thoughtful, stood at the edge looking down. I didn't recognize her or the car she stood next to. She definitely wasn't from Bakota. Sat in the car next to her, I could see a young man who had clearly been crying. I couldn't get over how blue his eyes were. The old woman caught my eye and looked from me to the pit and back again. I thought about saying something when she gestured for me to leave. And I did. I decided that I was no part of whatever was happening, so I drove away and didn't look back. That night, the earthquake struck that destroyed Bacoda entirely, so I guess I'll never know what was going on. And honestly, I'm glad.
That one was a bit much. There is absolutely no record of jWnYcBYnZ residing anywhere after the Daedalus. The vast is blue. And Sherry confirmed that it's antithetical to the buried. What if Gertrude took jWnYcBYnZ and made him stop the pit? I mean, that's what Gertrude does. She stopped rituals at any cost. It's what she did to Michael Shelley. Michael is hard to talk about. Likely because these distorted quotations are close enough to his being that it causes me to lose my grip a bit. But I can't not talk about it. It wouldn't be fair to Shelley. He can't be forgotten. I don't want anyone to be forgotten. Michael Shelley was an archival assistant to Gertrude Robinson. We heard him on one of Gertrude's tapes in 2007. Then Gertrude Robinson used Michael Shelley to stop the spiral by making Shelley walk through Michael's the distortions hallways, that a map that would well, not turn him because how do you describe something that definitionally is impossible and cannot be put into words? Michael. Wait. No.
Until he became me. Even sharper than the joy of becoming is the agony of being opened and remade. To have your who torn bloody from your what and another crudely lashed into its place. To become Michael.
Oh, I think I understand the feeling. I want to hate her. I want it to be that simple. You use people, you discard them, you play them like puppets, then you're the evil one. Shelley trusted you more than anything, and you killed her.
Even being what I am, I have rarely seen anyone so adept at distorting the truth as Gertrude Robinson. Michael was protective of the frail old woman he believed her to be. So delicate, so forgetful, yet gently wise. He cared for her, he trusted her, and she fed him to me. She made him me to destroy our transcendence, and she did not hesitate.
You're something I can never be. But that's too simple, isn't it? And simple answers aren't allowed for monsters like me. Because Gertrude saved the world over and over and over again. How can you hate someone so much? But hate even more that you know you can't do what she did. Does that make me weaker? More selfish? Or more trustworthy? Kinda. Like kindness even matters in a place like this. I've been doing some research. Well, because Jerry said...
The Rite of the Watcher's Crown. It's what she called the ritual for the eye.
And maybe Gertrude's plan to stop it was blowing up the Institute with the gas main inside of the tunnels. Or maybe it was something more complicated. But obviously, it's what the Archivist is being built for. I've not got many ideas about it. To be honest, I hope it's covered in Season 4, because while it seems like the Institute's ritual would be the main focus in the final season, honestly I'd find the aftermath to be an equally interesting story that's less often told. And it might mean some of them didn't die. I mean, I can't stop thinking. We know Elias is not omniscient, but the Archivist absorbs the statements of people to know things, to know people's stories, so is the plan to make sure John is the pupil of the eye, seeing all knowledge and memory and constantly collecting more. Every single memory of fear inside one body moving through into the eye. We've already gotten confirmation that John has a physical dependence on statements. Episode 107, Third Degree. I, clearly, have already noticed because I, like an idiot, gave myself withdrawal. John pondered whether this was an addiction, maybe with a chance to be weaned off, but I think it's wishful thinking that we can revert back to what we were before. And reading statements isn't just to maintain the Archivist. Elias told Martin to read them when John was away to pick up his slack. So, what does reading them do? Maybe it's feeding John this knowledge indirectly, or maybe it feeds Elias, or is it just simpler, just someone feeding the eye? I mean, I'm more dependent on listening to episodes themselves, but some of you have written statements, your stories, and I can't pretend that they aren't a little bit reinvigorating. I've received 3 so far. One from a Leah Hayes regarding an incident of creepy dolls, one from someone named Anne regarding an understanding of the vast, and the last one, unnamed, regarding dreams about singing souls. That one concerns me most. Because they didn't have those dreams before watching this broadcast. I'm part of this now, right? But I mean, how does that work? What does broadcasting all this do? It's different from the cassettes, isn't it? Is this a ritual? Is that what this is? How am I different from John to other archivists if they're all even similar in their own right? And some of you are watching this with me. Am I turning you supernatural? Claiming you for the eye? Some said it's not my fault because those viewers were to be claimed anyway, but that's too easy to shove off the responsibility. Is the recollection of the story some 6-second chance? A grasp for the horrors to eat more fear? A new door to pull through? Did I make it real? Or did it find a door through me? And dreams! God, the dreams! There's this one damn commenter, they go by Hobbs. They're the one that first called me Dreamwalker. I thought they were helpful at first, rooting for me to figure things out, but after my isolation experiment last time, well, they took a bit of joy in the fact that it went very wrong. They like watching me turn into something entirely new. They said, at least people like Mike Crew and Jude Parry started off more human than you have ever been. Piss off. It doesn't even matter now. I'm not talking to them anymore. But now I'm dreaming too. But honestly, they're boring. They're just, they're objects. Things on shelves, only ever 5 of them every single time. I've scanned the spreadsheet, the transcripts, re-listened to episodes, and none of them are ever mentioned. There's an old ticking mantle clock with embellishments that look like golden bones. Then patches of hides and faces all sewn together with bits of glass in it. Then there's a jar of perpetually bubbling wax, a pair of half-moon glasses with a librarian chain of eyeball designs, and just a book. Clearly not just a book, but I couldn't make out the title when I picked it up. It was the only thing that I actually interacted with. It felt weird, too heavy. Like, if I wasn't careful, it would fall through my hand. Should I be more worried about this? I don't know. You tell me. What do you all dream about? Is this just some sort of normal archivist thing that I haven't even seen in John yet? Or is it something of another horror? I don't know. We'll report back if anything changes. We'll report back if I get any sleep. If I even need to sleep anymore. Oh, and John's a universal translator now. Well, Henrik wanted me to clarify. There's no such thing as a direct translation between languages because not all words have identical translated phrases, which means John's translating the direct intent of the author, which is kind of remarkable. He accidentally read a statement entirely in French and mentally translated Zhuang Xiaoling's words in episode 105, Total War. I liked her. I wonder how much she knows about the Archivist. What I'm curious about right now, aside from everything, is the distinction between reading statements into the air and recording them on cassette tapes. Gertrude didn't always record, but recording is an active part of John's compulsions, and, well, mine too. So, I looked into the history of the compact cassette. The cassette player and recorder premiered at the Berlin Radio Show in 1963. It was designed with the primary use of dictation, with the emphasis of portability, affordability, and at-home recording. The mass production of blank cassettes began in 1964 in Hanover, Germany. Gertrude Robinson became archivist in 1965. What am I even implying here? I think that analog surveillance technology amplifies the eye's power and the fear of being surveilled. It likely plays a role in the watcher's crown. Maybe. And even if this is some sort of grim coincidence, it at the very least reminds me to keep an eye out for any more distinctions between Gertrude and John. And Gertrude didn't even like being the archivist. She did the bare minimum to sustain herself with statements, which, by the way, if statements are what feed us now, that explains why Gertrude had no food in her apartment, but I do not appreciate the implication that I do not need to eat food anymore. I like food, and would prefer it to sustain me than other people's fear. Elias must have made the wrong choice picking her, because multiple people have already said that John makes for a better archivist. Probably because he likes it. Which, I mean, I get. It's answers. It's letting yourself understand people and their stories. It's empathy, in the literal sense. Knowledge and questions that protect you and let you understand the plans of the other sides. Stops rituals, saves the world. It does feel good sometimes. That thrill you get when you figure something out that you know nobody else has picked up on as fast as you have. Or when a small hunch slowly grows into pages upon pages of evidence, dancing across 1,700 pages of transcripts that you know like the back of your hand. Half the time when a recurring character or familiar place or date pops up, I'm saying it at the same time as the episode, like the landlord's name was Arthur Nolan, or the date was November 23rd, 2006, and it's not even in a supernatural way, it's just memory, I just know it. It's invigorating. Sometimes you think, I mean, I'm learning these things to help people. How can it be bad? Or, no, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean it like that. It's a dangerous line of thinking, that is. I don't like the eye. I like learning. I don't like the eye. I like learning. Needless to say, I thought understanding Gertrude would let me understand my feelings about her. But the clearer she gets, the muddier it is for me. Michael is dead. Gone now. Distortion Michael. I was right about Helen Richardson. She was still in Michael's hallways. Bold to trap a real estate agent, really. Floor plans are kind of her thing. She has become the distortion. Now, she's Helen. I'm not quite sure what Helen is yet. Helen doesn't know what Helen is yet. But Helen Richardson liked John, so she helped him escape from... Oh my god, I forgot to mention. John got kidnapped. The Unknowing is not going well. Breaking and Hope kidnapped John, tied him up, and left him somewhere where Elias couldn't see him. Some old wax museum with uncanny figures, which actually made me think of Not Sasha's boyfriend Tom, because he worked at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. I mean, Madame Tussauds feels a little obvious for a mysterious wax museum in London, but it's also occurred to me to be somewhere underneath Covent Garden, where Tim experienced the, sneak preview. Breaking and Hope also had the Do Not Open coffin, claiming it needed to be kept near them, and Michael implied that the coffin singing is what hides the ritual. Honestly, I thought they were all inside the coffin, so this distinction was actually very helpful. And it also furthers the connection of the mystery Tom. I'm no longer super hell-bent on the Hahn family themselves being related to the Unknowing. I won't completely oppose the theory, but that's honestly just because it'd be embarrassing to redact it if it's correct. But the Hahns and the collection of meat feel way closer to the flesh, not the stranger. The only thing I can think that might correlate it is that the meat might be used to create the choir. Shit, I forgot to say what the Unknowing even is. Elias said.
Gertrude believed that the Unknowing was going to take the form of a dance. It required a great deal of intact human skin to clothe what she referred to as the corpse de ballet, though I suspect that's just her sense of humour. There is also one, the danseuse étoile, that requires a costume of special power or distinction. Gertrude believed that Orsanov and his circus created a dancer specifically for this role.
That star dancer was John's captor, Nicola Orsanov, who is very much not Gregor Orsanov's descendant. She was built by the circus and promptly killed Gregor and took his name. Nicola's costume of special power was originally supposed to be the oldest piece of taxidermy in history, mentioned in episode 54, Still Life. But Gertrude took the ancient skin and also killed Daniel Rawlings in the process. I was right on the nose with the anglerfish in the trophy room being related to the Unknowing, which is making me feel a bit more confident regarding Jared Hopworth too. But the more I think about Jared, the more I zone out pondering which bones someone could lose without losing any limbs. I'm predicting a rib, maybe. What does it feel like to lose a rib? Well, like a glove being pulled off a hand, Gregory made it quite clear. Yes, just my luck, really. Nicola Orsanov thought of an even better costume of special power.
You see, originally I was just planning to have you followed, in case you found that ancient relic one. I mean, my goodness, it is very powerful. And if you didn't come through, well, you're quite powerful yourself. And more than that, you are symbolically appropriate. So I thought you'd make a lovely frock.
Oh, the Archivist. Because of course John's skin would work great. I swear to God, if I get anywhere close to being actively skinned because of a fucking podcast, I'm going to find out a way to haunt all of you. John escaped. Thank you, Helen, but not before getting his skin lotioned and moisturized by a killer clown for a month, which would be very funny if I was anyone but myself. Even worse, Gertrude concluded that the Unknowing can only be stopped while the ritual has commenced, because anything destroyed beforehand can be rebuilt, including Nicola. Our only lead is from Jerry. Gertrude has a storage unit in London under the name Jan Kelly, which I originally thought was a portmanteau of Jan Kilbride and Sean Kelly, but I think it might actually just be a name this time. And John already has the key, episode 62, first edition, with Gertrude's laptop under the floorboards. So, thank you, Jerry Key. It's nice to know there's someone out there who will help us. I hope we hear from him in future statements, or on Gertrude's tapes. I don't want to disrupt his rest, but it'd just be nice to hear from him again. It's really reassuring when people who follow these fears are still, well, good company. Maybe not good people, but hell, having a drink with Julia and Trevor sounds like a grand old time. Not what Henrik thought. He was all,
they're a bunch of smartasses. Of course you'd like them.
I mean, it's a bit funny, isn't it? You got to admit, it is a little funny. The Stranger's one of my least favourite songs, so of course it would. Who else would it be to get me news? I am so sick of being so afraid all the time. Of sitting here in denial of what I am just becoming. If I accepted it sooner, I could have worked out what was going on with Percy. I could have asked better questions. I've been avoiding the things that will try to kill us. And ignorance is just going to get us killed. I've spent the first half of this broadcast trying to convince myself that it was John that was making me similar to... But we know that's not true. It's just me. It's my personality, it's myself. It's the things that I was doing before I even knew there was an I to serve. It's what I choose to keep doing. I've already become it. So it's my responsibility now. I am your archivist. And whatever that means. I am so sorry. But I'm using it to help. I will hold on to your stories. I will not let you be forgotten. Statement ends.